Good day to each and everyone. I'm Roxanne Barotag from Upol Community College. Now let's discuss the framework and principle behind our moral disposition, Aristotle and Aquinas. But first, I would like to introduce my co-members. We have here Jefferson Adi and Inchel Marie Bonsayon. Now it's time to shine for Jefferson Adi to broaden our mind for this discussion.
Okay, we will talk about virtues ethics of Aristotle. But first, who is Aristotle? He is one of the famous Greek philosophers who influenced field of knowledge. He emphasized that we must understand first the nature works before we begin to make theories. In moral philosophy, he used his metaphysics as the basis for his ethics. Ideas that everything aims of something that is good is known as telos, that explains that the world and everything in it has a design purpose. Aristotle believed that happiness is the good which all humans aspire to. He explained that the human fulfillment involves the soul. According to him, there are three parts of soul. Nutritive, that describe the experience of life involves the act of living. Sensitive, that describe as experiencing both living and sensing. Rational, including both nutritive and sensitive together with mental processes of analyzing and reflecting. According to Aristotle, to be moral entails learning to be having moral virtue involves developing the following habits: right thinking, right choice, and right behavior. Since people vary, the point of moderation will also vary. We differ in character and in circumstances. We ourselves are in.
In addition, Aristotle enumerated two kinds of reasoning. First, theoretical reasoning. This is about universal principles of knowledge. Simply knowing the facts, however, will not make us moral. Second is the practical reasoning. This is what guides our everyday actions and morals. Moreover, practical reason is the use of reason to decide how to act. It contrasts with theoretical reason, the use of reason to decide what to follow. But these two types of reasoning are not always congruent. Happiness as telos. Aristotle stated that virtues are the expression of a balanced life. Happiness is described as the soul working by the way of excellence and virtue, meaning that he believed that the key to happiness is the practice of virtue, because virtue is in accord with human reason. Aristotle stated that we can reach minor states of happiness through money, power, and fame, but the ultimate happiness can only be reached through the practice of virtue. Thomas Aquinas was an Italian Dominican priest who is considered as one of the most influential thinkers of the medieval era. His philosophy is an integration of knowledge through biblical revelation. He believed that revelation could guide reason and could clarify faith. Four types of law according to Thomas Aquinas. First, eternal law refers to law that govern the nature of the eternal universe. Aquinas means that God's rational purpose is not for all things, and because the eternal law is part of God's mind, then it has always and will always exist. Second, natural law refers to law that flow from eternal law and govern the behavior of human beings for them to achieve eternal salvation. For example, for Aquinas, it is not as if we need to check whether we should pursue good and avoid evil, as it is just part of how we already think about things. Third, human law based on customs which tend to vary from place to place relative to the society which developed them. For example, if you are a woman and you live in Saudi Arabia, then you are not allowed to drive the car. Fourth, divine law concerned with the standards that must be satisfied by man to achieve eternal salvation and only made known through the revelation in the Holy Scriptures, means that divine law are those that God has in God's grace seen fit to us and are those rules given by God which we find in Scriptures, for example, the Ten Commandments.
Law. Natural law to govern human action through reason and free will. In the natural law theory of morality, the principle is to do good and avoid evil. Example of this is Anna invited to go a night party, but instead she chose to study than to go a party. In the first theoretical law, it is based on the person of how she interact, her or him personality or attitude, or in a simple mean, her or him work. And the second theoretical law, it is based on the authority or the government that follow are always based on the natural law to maintain a good quality. So in cardinal virtue is make a possible is self-mastery and joy in leading a morality good life. And prudence, there's virtue is observed when a person exhibit carefully good judgment to guide his action. The temperance, this is the virtue of moderation. The third is fortitude. This virtue manifests itself as having the strength and ability to face and conquer fear. So the last is justice. This virtue determines how we relate to others. In addition, Santo Tomas explained that happiness have two kinds. The first is an incomplete happiness. It is which can be achieved by means of human action and grounded on the cultivation of the four cardinal virtues. And the second is complete happiness, which is only possible through the theological virtues received from a higher power. That's all to our discussion. We hope that you learn and enjoy watching our video. Maraming salamat.